All right, welcome back to the channel. Uh, we're going to get into a little bit of fun stuff today, or at least I hope it is. Now, a disclaimer: I'm not prior military. I've never served a day in my life. What little bit I do know, I learned going to max velocity. But I'm going to go over few little things he went over. A few days ago, we did a drill outside. And we were discussing reacting to contact. So I want to expound on that today. So what we've got, and you'll have to pardon me on this, it's the first time I've ever tried to do this. I guess, need to get me a tripod. But this is listed as objective. We're going to consider that, say, a bunker or a threat. Okay? So there's two of us. One guy here, one guy here. And hopefully you can see that. And we're going to react to contact. So now this works whether it's an individual, two fire teams, two squads. The principle is the same. Okay? So north arrow, this is our direction of travel. Now let's say that, for argument's sake, a couple different things. Maybe we're doing a clearance patrol. We've been moving with our families. We've got a quote-unquote patrol base down here. And so what we're doing is we're making sure before we bed down, hopefully we're able to move at night. Before we lay down daytime, we're going to do a clearance patrol or 360 degrees around our patrol base, around where our families are, to make sure that we didn't pull up against MS-13 or whatever. So we've got two guys going out, and we'll go over this more in detail as well, because what you would end up doing is you would have one person at the limit of visibility from the patrol base, a second person at the limit of visibility from this person, and you would do you have four people, 180 going this direction, 180 going this direction, and you're going to actually the distance of two limits of visibility to make sure that the area is clear. Or we may be doing patrol around our home place to make sure nobody's moved in on us. So this is our direction of movement. We have already decided we're not looking for a fight. All things being equal, we're going to break contact. Okay? We're not going to, now we will discuss both movement to contact and break contact. But we're going to do break contact first. So what we can do is what's called traveling overwatch. And what traveling overwatch is these two individuals, they're going to be roughly 5 to 10 meters apart, and they're going to maintain this as they go up, if that makes sense. So now I got these fancy little magnetic things. So you got squad and squad. This is Alpha. This is Bravo. It could be chicken and biscuits and gravy, peanut butter and jelly, whatever you want to call it. So Alpha's in the lead. Now we can do this in two ways. Now they're in what's called a wedge formation. So this would be four individuals. Each dot is an individual. If the ground or the terrain is very close, we may be in file. We've still got our roughly a 10-meter gap between, but we're in file. We could do more of an echelon where we come across, but that depends on terrain. Okay, we could actually do a V where you'd have one over here, but as we're moving up, we come under fire from this enemy position. We're calling it our objective, but it's actually not an objective. but we come under fire. Contact front. Now, you heard me outside, and you got to sound off. You got to scream it. But I'm not going to do it in here. So what they're going to do, their Alpha Squad is immediately going to go into RTR. Now, that is not roll tide roll. I realize that's almost sacrilegious in this area, but it is return fire, take cover, and then return appropriate fire. So as these guys are moving, or these individuals are moving, ideally they're looking as, all right, if I have a contact in front, where is my position of cover? What do I have that I can get between me and the threat that will stop incoming rounds? So they've already got a place picked. They've taken these, they went prone, they're using micro terrain, whether it's a hump of dirt, trees, you name it, and they set up a base of fire. There is no movement without fire superiority. So they're addressing their fire onto the threat. Now, we've already decided that we're going to break contact. Bravo team, though, this is kind of close terrain. There ain't much they can do because they're behind Alpha team. So what Bravo team's going to do, they're going to go either left or right. Now, we're going to say they're going to go right. They're going to come over here, and then they engage. Okay? Now, once the fire superiority has been achieved, so you're not having a lot of rounds coming back in your direction, and what rounds are coming back is not effective, then we can initiate movement. Now, there's no point in Bravo moving forward because we're breaking contact. We're moving away. So Bravo's going to stay down here. Okay? Bravo's going to tell Alpha, Alpha, move. Bravo's firing. Alpha, they're turning around and looking. Where's my next point of cover? And they're moving down, roughly in line with Bravo team. Now, individual movement techniques, 3 to 5 second rushes. I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. We're not doing what Max Velocity calls hero rushes, where we're covering a vast distance of ground. We're moving a short distance. So, once we've done that, we're in cover. We've opened fire. Bravo's still firing. We've opened fire. Once we open fire, again, maintaining fire superiority on the threat. Hopefully by this time, instead of a round every couple seconds, we're able to fire around every, say, 6 seconds. Okay? Alpha's going to scream at Bravo. Bravo, move. Bravo's going to do just what Alpha did. They're going to look back, where's my next point of cover? And then they're going to move back. And then they're going to engage. Once they engage and they start firing, they're going to tell Alpha to move. And we're going to leapfrog back. That's how we're going to do it. Okay? It's not that complicated. Your issues are you get shot at while this is going on. Actually, the way these squads are drawn, we would actually need to do it this way. Because you'd have more men on this side, more men on this side, so your flanks are covered better. I actually had them backwards. Now, let's say that Alpha is told Bravo to move, especially if it's one individual. As Bravo is moving, they've not made their next point of cover yet. Alpha has a malfunction or a stoppage. It could be a malfunction, it could be an empty mag, you name it. They immediately scream stoppage because rounds are not going to the threat. If rounds are not going to the threat, we do not have fire superiority, we cannot initiate movement. So once Alpha has a stoppage, Alpha screaming stoppage. Bravo immediately, even though they want to be here, they're going to go here, go back to ground with the best cover they can find, and engage the threat again while Alpha takes care of their problem. Once Alpha has taken care of their problem and it's back in, then they can tell Bravo to move again. Bravo can move down. We're going to do this for approximately 300 meters or until we have a terrain feature, a hill or something, between us and the threat. Once we do that, now we're going to pretend the threat's gone. So we're going to have Bravo here, Alpha here. So we've got 360-degree coverage. Okay. Now we're going to do what's called an ACE report. And what we're looking at is ammunition left, casualties, and equipment. Do we want to do tactical reloads to top everybody off? Do we need to, are the casualties that we need to treat that we weren't able to treat? I mean, we may have already put tourniquets on them, but do a little more to them. Do we still have the equipment that we need? Okay. Once we do that, we're going to set up a hasty ambush. This was our direction of travel. This was the direction our threat was in. We're going to have a hasty ambush behind that terrain feature to see if that threat is going to come after us. We're also maintaining situational awareness 360 degrees to make sure that the threat doesn't come on our flank. Okay? All that, there's no threat, then we can just move on back, gather up our people, and go somewhere else. Okay, so that's breaking contact. Now we have a threat. And I'm going to relabel these. So this is going to be Bravo. And this is going to be Alpha. So Alpha is going to be here. Notice that our greatest number of men are on this side, because with Bravo, he's on this side where the ground is a little more open. We've still got roughly 10 meters between. We may have 10 meters this way, but our greatest number of men are on this side and on this side. Now let's assume we're moving to contact. We don't have the option of breaking contact. Or we may realize the threat is so small, let's just address it now, because this is the homestead, this is our house, and we don't want them up here, we got to root them out. So, same thing, it's just in reverse. So we're going to have in file. Let's say this part of the ground is a little close again. So we're in file. Alpha comes up. They come under fire. RTR. So they return fire. They take cover and return appropriate fire. And they've already screened contact front. Now, because Bravo knows we're taking care of these goofballs, but they can't engage because Alpha is between them and the threat. So Alpha is going to tell Bravo to move. We have achieved fire superiority. Bravo's going to move up, but they're going to move up at an angle, like so. So they're going to come online with us, take cover, engage the threat. Now, once they have fired, engage the threat, they're going to tell Alpha to move. Alpha's going to move up. Alpha's taking cover, and they've engaged the threat. They tell Bravo to move. Bravo comes up. Now, if you'll notice right here, we're going to discuss what's called the last bound. Look at the angle Bravo has to the threat, because we're assuming one threat right now. If Alpha moves up another bound, So that 3 to 5 seconds, I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. They're getting in to that 40 degrees that each individual has for a sector of fire, a field of fire. Inside that 40 degrees, we start having to worry about friendly casualties. Okay? So, what's going to happen is Bravo tells Alpha to move. Alpha is going to scream last bound. When they scream last bound, Bravo Company is going to hold their fire and shift their sector of fire in this direction, because that's their safe field of fire, give or take a little bit. Alpha is free to move without coming in to this area here where they could be hit by Bravo's fire. So Alpha's called last bound. Bravo tells them to move. Alpha is going to move up and clear the objective. Once they have done that, now they are no longer firing because the threat is gone. This person's field of fire is here. This person's field of fire is here, which would overlap. Then Bravo is going to come on up. And when they do, this is their field of fire. Notice that it overlaps with Alpha. And this is the side's field of fire. So you have interlocking fields of fire. And then we're going to do another ACE report. So we're going to top off our mags, treat casualties, make sure we got our equipment. We're also going to take cover to make sure that those dudes are by themselves. And before we move, we're going to wait a little bit. If we have a good position of cover here, if not, we're going to move to a good position of cover and then have a 360 degrees of security, so that if their buddies show up and their buddies come here, we can engage. Okay. The last thing we're going to talk about is more of a linear, and I'm not going to use these. And I just lost my blue marker. Okay. Here's the bad guys. Here's the threat. This is Alpha with 2 guys. And this is Bravo with 2 guys. And this is a river. So what we would normally do is we're going to move up, and again we're moving by tactical overwatch. So each individual, we got say 5 meters here, 10 meters here, 5 meters here. Okay, so this is our direction of travel. As we move up, and I've actually got this drawn kind of squirrely. It should actually be a little closer probably. But as we're moving up, we get to here. Okay. We come under fire. Well, Lord, let me draw that again. That was terrible. Wish my artistic ability ain't that great anyway. Okay. Now, We could do the break contact drill like we did before, where Bravo moves back, Alpha moves back. But this terrain feature, this river that we can't cross easily, is too close. We don't have 300 meters or a terrain feature in between. So what we're going to do is what's called a peel. So we're going to engage. So everybody's taking cover. Again, we've returned fire, contact right this time. We've taken cover, returning appropriate fire. We have achieved fire superiority, but we want to break contact. So what we're going to do, and you can do it two ways. You can do as individuals or by fire teams. We're going to do it as individuals. This person, they're going to say move. He's going to come down to here, post up here with a position of cover, and engage. Now, he's not even going to holler move. He's going to kick this guy or tap him or whatever to let him know he's going past. So once he does that, this person is going to move down here. He kicked this guy. He moved down here. He kicked this guy. He moved down here. And we're leapfrogging as we go. Now there comes a point that as we move back, we can't engage the threat because that field of fire we have, people are going to be in it. So what we're going to do, we're going to holler online. Okay? So one person realizes, hey, we can't leapfrog anymore. We've got to go online. So he hollers online. The group that is closest to the threat, either the individual or the fire team, squad, you name it, closest to the threat moves first. Okay? And I'm going to show you why in just a second. So these are closest to the threat because they're over here. They're going to come to here. They're going to engage. They're going to tell Alpha, at least I hope this is Alpha, I've got lost track of who's who. They're going to tell them to move. Now this should look familiar because now we're a straight break contact drill. Now each fire team can engage without endangering the other fire team. So let's say this is Bravo, this is Alpha. Bravo tells Alpha to move. So Alpha comes down, 3 to 5 second rush, engages. Then they tell Bravo. Bravo does the same thing. Now, when we got online, so we went from, and I didn't draw it right, but we were like this. When we get online, we're going to end up more like this. And this will show a better representation of what I was talking about with the fire team closest to the threat. If this is the fire team closest to the threat, if, let's say this is Alpha, this is Bravo. If Alpha moves first and they come down here, they can't engage because they don't have a clear field of fire because Bravo's in the way. That's why Bravo has to move first, closest to the threat. They have to move first, then Alpha can move. Then we can continue leapfrogging back like we did on our first break contact drill. And break contact, go 300 meters or a terrain feature. And then we post up, we do an ACE report, and set up a hasty ambush, wait a minute, and then continue on with the mission. Whether it's going back, gathering our families, hey, this area ain't safe, we got to go somewhere else, load up. Now, nobody has set up camp, so we ain't got nothing to pack yet. So we can gather everything up, hit the road. Okay? Now, last thing we're going to talk about on this is a danger area. So we're going to take our objective off, or the threat. And we got a pretty little magnetic strip saying, and I just kicked the tripod, danger area. So this is a danger area. This could be a road. This could be a gas line right away, power line right away, you name it. Now, for argument's sake, we're going to keep it straight. Ideally, what you would want to do is if you crossed a danger area, let's cross in a curve and on a hill, because we have less visibility at distance and it will be safer for us to go across. So, Alpha Squad by themselves, they come up. Now, we're going to go over hand signals later, but this was what Max Velocity showed me was danger area. Was a slow, now we're not moving our arms like we're trying to take off like a big bottom bird, but this is a danger area. So what we want to do is the first fire team is going to post up here. One's looking this way, one's looking this way. Okay, so we're not in the danger area, but we're close to the danger area where we can see down each direction. And they're pulling security. So this is Alpha. So A. Oh, well. Yeah, well, we can do that because it's, now the two guys that were back here, they're going to cross the danger area. So they're going to come through and then they're going to clear an area big enough for the squad to fit in. Once they've cleared that area, they're going to post up. They're pulling security on the far side of the danger area. Once they do that, they're going to signal for the two down here to come across. So once they do, these two are going to come across, go between these. So this fire team is set up out of the squad, and these two are going to get back online. And so what you've got is Alpha Squad on the far side of they've crossed the danger area, and they're on the far side of the danger area. And I drew them backwards, but their movement of travel is the same. And they'll do that until they get to another danger area. Now, another thing you can do is, if it's not a linear, let's say it's an open field. And it's a big open field. Okay. This is our direction of travel. We could actually box around it. So let's say, just for argument's sake, that there's good cover on this side. We got a lot of trees. We've done 90 degrees from our azimuth, our direction of travel, which we'll go over this when we do land navigation. We'll mark this distance. Let's say we've got to go 75 meters to clear this area. Then we're going to go back to our original azimuth, which at this case is 0 degrees. We're going to go 90 degrees, turn back to 0 degrees because we're going due north again, our direction of travel. Then this, let's say, is 500 meters. Okay, once we get there, we're going to go 270 degrees or due west And we're going to go 75 meters, which is the 75 meters we moved down here. Turn 0 degrees due north and continue. This 150 meters will not count for our distance traveled. The half a click, the 500 meters will. This makes sure we get roughly back on line with our direction of travel. But we're boxing around this large terrain feature, this open area. Maybe it could be a lake, you know. But for whatever reason, we either cannot or do not want to cross this. And so we're going to box around it. So we're going, our route of travel is a course of 0 degrees due north. We're going to box to the right. So we're going to go 90 degrees to the right. We're going to go 75 meters till we clear the edge. We're going to go back on our original azimuth of 0 degrees. Go 500 meters till we clear the open area. Then we're going to go 270, which is opposite. Instead of going due east, we're going due west to get back on our original line of travel. 75 meters, then turn due north for 0 degrees. That's another way of dealing with a danger area, which is not a linear danger area, but a danger area that is large. Okay? All right. Well, that's all I got today. We'll go in more detail on this. We'll start talking about hand signals, how to move as a patrol, how to move as a convoy if you're in vehicles, and land navigation in upcoming videos. So I hope this didn't confuse you. It's actually not that complicated, you know, and it's complicated because you got other things to worry about. You're not just going for a stroll, but you're going for a stroll, but you got to maintain security. So, all right, you know what I'm going to say. Comments, questions, criticisms, witticisms. You got them, put them in the comments. If this is useful, pass it on. If not, just as my father-in-law used to say, eat the fish and spit out the bones. And if I can do anything to help you, let me know. So I hope you have a great day. Thank you.